Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway because their slogan is Gateway's Got It. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. I can vouch for that. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome to episode 34 of The Mom Game.
We
Emily
are
Jones,
almost
Julie Dobbs.
at my age. What should we do?
What's your age?
35.
Yeah, it's so annoying. 35?
Yeah, so I'm not trying to brag about my age, but I'm just saying, you know how you have a golden birthday?
Uh-huh.
We should do something for our 35th episode to celebrate my birthday.
Okay. What do you want to do?
I don't know. Have some wine.
Okay. Let's go ahead.
Anyways, yes. Yeah. Episode 34.
Episode
Here
34.
we are.
Cheers. I mean, I feel like
cheers.
We do the wine pretty much if we shoot afternoon, which is pretty much every time. So
right.
I feel like it adds to the content.
It's become a thing now.
Yeah.
And a thing that I'm expecting. And the whole way here I was like, oh, I hope there's wine.
I know.
There's wine. And then I walked in and you had it all set up beautifully.
Yes. You
and
provide the
very
rundown.
Excited. I provided the rundown.
Yes. You're steering the ship. I'm providing
That's right.
libations.
That's right. Yeah. So just to set the scene a little bit here today, we arrived and we're all prepping here, and Emily and I are both, I'm pulling hairs off my sweater because I hate when you wear black and you get hairs on it, whether it's your own hair or animal hair. And my cat's hair sometimes shows up. I don't have dogs.
Yeah.
But you were talking about your black shirt and you're a little hot, and then you started going into the story and I said, hold it. Because as we know, Emily is the reporter for the Texas Rangers. So she makes her living in the dugout when it's not a COVID year or wherever. But at the ballpark, it was always really hot. It won't be anymore for you. But you started talking about something and I thought, we need to hear about this and the colors that you have to wear on TV and why.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, if you're a woman.
I am.
With breasts.
Oh, okay. Got those.
Sometimes that's the first thing that begins to sweat when you get hot.
Why?
It's
is it that pocket?
It is. It's something about it.
Do you think it sweats more if they're bigger? If you have a bigger
I would
pocket?
think, well, if there's some overlap there,
right.
Probably.
Right.
I felt
overhang.
But for me, it's something you had when I was working at the ballpark and it would be 125 degrees on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah. You had to be cognizant of.
Right.
And when Adrian Beltre had his 3,000th hit, I forgot about the rules of what color you should wear. So I'm here to tell you that, you can wear white and black, navy, dark colors. White, if you're going to sweat through your shirt, not a good idea, obviously. But you got to stick with those darker colors. Well, I had found this dress that I wanted to wear for Adrian's 3,000th hit. It was a day game, but I had already bought this dress. And so I thought I wanted to wear
I'll be
it.
fine.
No, it didn't even, honestly, it didn't enter my consciousness. I was thinking at that point, I want to look cute.
Right.
Okay.
Found a cute dress. Anything else.
Trumped everything.
Yes.
So what happened was my kid, Henry, did Kids Take the Field. So it's not so I was out on the field 30 minutes before game time.
You were out there a long time.
So I couldn't just stick in the AC until it was time for the game to start or whatever.
By the time the game started.
So then all of a sudden it starts to happen. And then there starts to be spots on my sweat spots on my stomach. And I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I shoved a towel. So I got a clubhouse towel, a dugout towel, like one of those Gatorade ones or Powerade or whatever.
Does every team have those same Gatorade towels?
Jane, well, we're Powerade.
Okay, well, we have the Gatorade towels too at my house, and I know Scott Tomlin from the Mavs. He has a bunch of Gatorade towels from the Mavs
because there's a stack of them in the dugout.
Yeah.
And so I snagged one of those and went into the bathroom and shoved that towel up my dress.
Oh my gosh.
So it would catch.
How did that look?
I mean,
did it make bumps?
It
Or
wasn't,
like,
well, the
did it
dress
make your
wasn't.
boobs look big?
No, because it
Were you
was
stuffing?
under.
It's like you're stuffing your bra.
I went under the boob. Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, it could still prop them up.
Right. Well, I mean, that doesn't hurt ever. But I shoved that thing up there and then just tried to make it flat. But the dress wasn't too tight, so it didn't look like weird.
Okay.
And so I did that entire game
Oh my God.
with
a Gatorade towel.
Powerade towel shoved up my dress to catch the boob sweat.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my mind, there's like all these bumps and clumps and.
No, I mean, I got the OCD. I got it pretty well ironed out. Like I was.
Right.
I took care of it.
Did you have one of the uniform guys come over and say, could you please just smooth this out for
smooth
me?
out. No,
Because there are guys on hand.
I felt like this was something I needed to take care of on my own. So I
like a reverse workplace harassment.
Little known trivia question about Adrian Beltre's 3,000th hit is I worked that entire game with a Powerade towel shoved up my dress.
Who knew? And then his
to catch the boob sweat.
His retirement ceremony, that was your red dress.
That was the
Is
red
it
dress.
creepy that I remember this?
No, but I love that red dress.
I know, you looked so cute.
You're so sweet.
Well, you were like belle of the ball that day. I mean, you got to lead the retirement ceremony.
It was so exciting for me.
That was so cool.
It was one of the coolest moments of my career because it was Adrian, right? I mean, because it was him.
Yeah.
And so it was really that was such a cool experience.
But
but
no
that
sweat
day,
issues with the dress.
No, it wasn't as hot that day, and it was later. It wasn't a day game. And I was able to hide away in the AC until that moment.
Right.
But his 3,000th hit game was just,
That's funny.
It was a terrible
when
timing
I
of
covered the
disasters.
Stars, I never really had to deal with that because it was always so
Freezing.
freaking cold.
Yeah.
So my issue was like trying to look cute while wearing like a blaze. It was always, it had to be something somewhat warm because you didn't want to just wear a little top and then freeze.
Yeah.
Because the whole place is cold, not just like where
it's
you're doing
freezing.
your
And
reports.
I hate being cold.
I do too.
I would rather sweat my tail end off.
Me
than,
too.
Than
I
be
hate
cold.
being cold, and here I am surrounding myself with hockey people.
Yeah.
And like a son that's probably going to play hockey.
Yep.
And I think about that when we talk about kids sports. I think about that like sitting in a cold rink every day for the next like however long I have. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, so look at that. We're already talking about sports. We just can't even help ourselves.
Can't.
So we're going to start off this episode. I think we have a few things on the agenda today.
Yes.
We're going to do our recurring segment of Sports Squirts.
Sports Squirts.
Kind of a lot to talk about there. We're going to hit on Halloween. We're going to follow up some Halloween craziness, how our kids' Halloweens were, how it all went down, because there was a lot of buildup to it and what it was going to be like in this weird 2020 world. And then, of course, today that we're shooting is Election Day. Oh, my God. So we've got to at least talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that. So starting with Sports Squirts. So Emily, big news for the Cowboys today that I was monitoring on the job, in my newsroom. So Ben DiNucci, the Cowboys' third string rookie quarterback, got his first start last Sunday in Philadelphia. It didn't go very well for him. He played the whole game. I liked watching him. I thought he was fun to watch. It was exciting to have somebody different. It was exciting to not know how the story was going to unfold. I didn't feel like he was we on our show Bad Radio, Dan calls Andy Dalton a haircut because he's just like generic quarterback guy. Like you're not going to get too many like crazy big plays. He's just kind of out there doing what he can, trying to move the chains, yada, yada. I felt like this could be different in Ben DiNucci. I felt like was something exciting, and people on the good side, there was a lot of bad, but I'm trying to focus on the little bit of the good because that's what I do in life and with the Cowboys, because we got to freaking watch them every week. So I'm giving myself some exciting storylines. He was trying to make plays a lot. Like he was throwing that little sidearm pass. He was scrambling. He wasn't scared. He was very confident. I heard one comparison during the game from, I don't think it was Chris Collinsworth. It was, what's his butt? The other guy. Berman? No, not Berman.
No.
He's gone.
Chris Collinsworth, and who was with him?
Well, I don't know.
Why can't I think of
I
this?
can't either.
I can see him.
I think
Al Michael? No.
Yes.
Is it Al?
Yeah, it was
Al
Al
it's
Michael.
Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth.
Yes, Al Michaels.
Chris Collinsworth.
I think it was him, not Chris Collinsworth. But he said at one point, a little Patrick Mahomesy with the way he was trying to just.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes has some qualities that aren't great, like where he's always trying so hard to create a play. That's why he'll throw an interception, or that's
right.
You know, and you take it, like you can't harness that in. You just let it go, and that's what people have learned with Patrick Mahomes over the years. Like your friend Cliff Kingsbury did.
But he's also ridiculously talented.
He's ridiculously talented, but this is this guy's first game ever. First game ever.
I hear you.
Anyway, so I heard them compare him to that a little bit, so I was like hanging on to that. It didn't go well for him. The Cowboys didn't win. He didn't throw a touchdown. And he got...
They didn't score. They haven't scored a touchdown in like 8 years.
Something like that. A few games.
So bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
I was excited. I stayed up till I tried to make it. So my husband at halftime, he was like, "Outski, you know, whatever." We call it the remote control in our room. We call it the rock. He's like, "You can run the rock, like whatever."
I love that.
And so he was like, "At peace, I'm done."
When?
This
like
was
early
in
on
bed.
in the game?
Oh yeah, he barely. I don't even know if he made it to halftime.
Really?
He was like, yeah, whatever. He was like, "This is horse-esque," you know. And so I was like, okay, I wanted you. They've got the lead for God's sake. It's like 9-7. So
towards the end of the fourth quarter, they had.
So I'm in, and
they were in the game.
Yeah, and so 9-7 is where it was, and then at 2 a.m. he woke me up and asked me to turn off the TV because I fell asleep.
Oh gosh.
So I couldn't even. Yeah, I didn't make it through the end of the game.
Well, I mean, it was ugly. It was really ugly football.
Yeah.
And Danucci just looked like he was a little in over his head with the whole situation because he wasn't supposed to even play this year.
But now.
But so
second
now,
start
as of today,
back to back. Here we go.
This is the other thing I wanted to talk about is just COVID is running rampant in the world right now and in the NFL. And so the Cowboys were one of the only teams that hadn't been hit with anything yet.
Yeah.
And then today they're trying to get Andy Dalton ready to go out of concussion protocol so he can start Sunday at home against Pittsburgh, who is undefeated.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be a disaster.
Coming into town. And so it's like, well, at least we'll have Andy Dalton, which when that's what you're hanging your hat on, it's kind of bad. But then it comes down today that he was put on the COVID-19 reserve list. And what I was seeing today before we went to shoot this is that he's not asymptomatic. So
he's got some.
That makes you think he has it. He has symptoms. He has it. He's in isolation. So now we'll see how it all unfolds for the Cowboys because that's the quarterback. Like he's been in all. I mean, he was still kind of doing his concussion protocol. So I don't know how integrated he was with everybody at this point.
For sure.
You know, yesterday.
If you're Andy Dalton, aren't you kind of like, my head's still not quite right going up against that Steelers defense with this decimated offensive line? Like
I know. Oh my God, because he just got destroyed. I almost forgot. Yeah. So he's probably got like,
let's not forget.
Like PTSD because of the last game that he did start. And I'm also like, dang, poor guy, like just had a concussion and now he's got COVID. Like, because they say it gives you foggy brain and you're just like, and so now I feel bad for him, but we'll see what happens with the Cowboys. It's also hit the Packers hard and the Ravens.
Yeah, it's hit the college ranks pretty hard too.
Wisconsin had to cancel their game today.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's kind of like we knew it would be.
Right. It's not going anywhere. I mean, we're just finding ways to live with it, you know?
Yeah.
And you hope that it doesn't affect people in a terribly, negative way. I mean, obviously the virus, every conversation you have with someone who's had it or had a brush with it or whatever, they have a completely different story than the next person. It's insanity. Right. There's no way to make sense of it. There's no way to know how it's going to affect you if you get it, how it's going to affect your family if they get it. It's just crazy. And you wonder like, what do we do? I'm a firm believer that we can't completely shut the economy down.
Right.
We've got to find a way to keep going. But also, too, I understand why people are scared of it, know, because it's scary.
Well, it's scary. It's scary because, like you said, nobody knows
totally
how it's going to affect them.
Yeah.
How are you living through it these days? Like, what's your check-in?
We're just like doing things as normal. Like we're paying attention, like super attention, especially since my kids are back in school. Like, if they have any sort of cough or running or whatever. I mean, I make sure they're getting their temperatures checked every day. I mean, all that kind of stuff. But we're hypersensitive to if they do have symptoms, making sure that it's not, you go through the checklist. Okay, you've got a runny nose. What else do you have? All that kind of stuff. So you're just hyper aware. But then, we wear a mask everywhere we go. We avoid large crowds indoors. We were outside this weekend because of Halloween. We were outside. with some of our neighbors and grilled out some hamburgers and felt totally fine with that. Let the kids trick or treat. No one's touching anyone. No one's doing, you know what I mean? They're grabbing some candy and hauling ass down the street.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's what we did.
What's so hard, it's like, you know, so you know you really don't want to get it because it is really scary. The one way is to like stay in your house. But who can do that when you don't have any end in sight? I think that's the hard part too. Like if someone was like 1 more month, okay, let's hunker down. I hate saying hunker down. I hate that word.
Yeah.
But let's hunker down for 1 month and then we know that this will be over. But we don't have that. To stick with sports though, before we move on, just have to give a shout out to a couple of our friends from the Dallas Stars who have joined us on the Mom Game. In fact, the only 2 Dallas Stars that have joined us here on the Mom Game.
Thereby making them our favorite Dallas Stars.
Our favorite Dallas Stars.
Yes.
Ben Bishop and Tyler Sagan have both joined us here on the show. Both of them just this past week, the Stars announced underwent surgery for the ailments that were bothering them at the end of the season. The lower body injuries. Yeah, Tyler's was like a hip thing. Ben's was like a knee thing. And it sounds like they're both going to be out for 5 months, which is a long time and longer than we thought or expected for either of them. So I guess they just felt like today was like making a double whammy announcement. Like, let's just get it out there. Because I think Ben's surgery was like 2 weeks ago. But that's what we know. It's weird because we still don't know when the season's going to start. But if it starts in January, then you're looking at like March or something like that. So the Dallas Stars are going to be starting their season when it starts without their number 1 goaltender and their number 1 center.
Yeah.
So best wishes to them.
For sure.
It's a brutal...
I know.
I mean, you're like, oh, he had surgery up, but then you're like, shit, he actually is like laying there on a bed. Like, just it's hard too. You know, it's all just hard. But they'll be okay. They'll be over it. And I was glad it wasn't like COVID news, you know. It's like they're just the routine kind of thing that you got to do after a brutal
surgery that keeps you out for 5 to 6 months.
Right. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Thoughts with them for sure.
I know. So thoughts with them. And then we'll see what happens with the NHL and the NBA season. So that's kind of the sports world here in Dallas right now. And you just had some Halloween fun.
Yeah. What did you guys do?
So Ryder was Bowser, Anna was a unicorn, but it was more like she was riding on the unicorn. She wasn't the unicorn. And we just, our whole street kind of just like texted and said, if you want to trick or treat, put your lights on. If you don't put your lights on, because we all know each other basically up and down the street.
Same with
and then most of the people that were trick or treating like just put their candy at the end of the sidewalk anyway.
Put the bowl out.
And like I'm lucky my kids are so little, like they don't really know the difference and they can't really be like, this isn't normal, because they're two and 5. Like they just were so excited to even have any candy and to be dressed up and to play with their friends. So we just did that, stayed on our street. My parents came in town, which was super fun. And it was just like, just took it easy, watched some football because it was Saturday night. Yeah. There were a few big games on in my household with the Aggies, the Sooners, and the Missouri Tigers all playing. My parents are Aggies, and my husband's a Sooner, and I'm Missouri Tiger. So we were in and out kind of watching football and trick-or-treating, and it was nice.
Yeah, it was a fun night. We had a great night. Henry was Jackie Robinson, and Hattie was an angel, which is, isn't it ironic? Because she's not an angel.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say she's a little shit. I love her. She is a giant shit and is giving me
Really?
Oh my God, she's 7 and she argues with me about everything.
Oh no.
Everything. This morning, I was like, you need to put your hair back. I don't want to put my hair back. I want to wear it down. I was like, you got lice 8 times last year. The number one way to avoid lice is for me to put your hair in a ponytail. I said, I want to avoid lice. She was like, you don't have lice. I'm like, yeah, you got it like 10 times last year. I cannot deal with another comb through your hair, picking out nits. I cannot deal with any more lice. I was like, you're wearing your hair up every single day. So we have to, everything is an argument. And I'm like, how is this starting? She's 7. How is it starting already? And then if I had
realizing
$1
now she has like a
for
voice
every
in the whole
time
thing.
she said, ugh, that's all she says.
Are you already like annoying and embarrassing mom?
I have to do, I'm sure.
Like not really, but is that what she's, the rolling the eyes and like, oh my God, mom.
Like she makes that sound all the time. Ugh.
Really?
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, my 5-year-old pretty much does that, and he tells me that he wants to go to a new family.
Oh yeah, go live
like
with someone
all
else.
the time.
I'm like, they don't want you. Trust me.
Act like this. They don't want you either.
Yeah, it's not good. But they act better at other people's houses than they do at your own. Like every time I pick her up from something, they're like, oh, she's so sweet. I'm like, oh,
I know. And
awesome.
like they're getting rave reviews at school and everything else. So that's good. Because if they had to act up somewhere,
you got to be an asshole somewhere.
Like,
you hope your kids are an asshole at home rather than anywhere else.
If we're ever going to be a jerk to anybody, it's usually our mom.
Yeah.
You know, it's not fair. Because
Yeah.
our mom like does so much shit for us.
Yes, for
and
sure.
we do so much shit for them. And then they're the one person they're me to. None of it makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, and I've already done the whole, I carried you for 9 months in my stomach and gave birth to you, like all that BS.
Like you said that to
and
her?
breastfed you for 6 months.
And then they're like,
all that.
tell me more about this breastfeeding.
You're like, who cares? Oh, have you had that conversation yet?
No.
Oh yeah, we've had that conversation, and they get so freaked out. I'm like, it's a totally normal thing, you guys. Like it's totally normal. Like we used to drink out of your boobs, and I'm like, yes, like that's what happens. Moms produce milk, like that's what happens, you know?
Right?
Because they see it on, they'll see it on if they're watching National Geographic or something, and they see it with a cow or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're like, they get totally freaked out, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, we've had to talk about IVF with Henry because Henry was an IVF baby. We had to talk with him because we look at his baby book and we have the pictures from the sonograms and when they were in the incubator.
So in order to have the IVF talk, you have to have the mommy and daddy.
Kind of. I mean,
how you make a baby talk.
So we haven't had the how you make one. They want to know how it got here, how they got here. And so they ask the questions and I try to answer them and not being like giggle or whatever, but I'm like, if they know enough to ask the questions, I need to be able to provide some answers, right? And so with mine, I had C-sections with both of them. So I'm like, they cut you out of my tummy.
Okay.
And they're like, but what about other people? Not everyone has them cut out of their tummy. And I said, and then Henry said, do they come out where you pee? And I'm like, no. Where you poop? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, where then? I was like, there's another place in the middle. There's another place in the middle, and that's what happens. And so they're kind of weirded out by it, but I feel like if they're going to ask, I need to answer.
So it's not where we pee or poop. It's in the middle.
It's somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
There's another spot in the middle.
I have a name?
No, I haven't told them. I don't even know the
name
of it.
I'm wondering. I'm learning a lot here. I know I did it.
Right.
But I wasn't watching.
But that's what, I mean, listen, I probably should take a class on this shit, like about how to properly go about this. But at this point, I'm just winging it as they come up with questions. I'm just trying to answer them honestly and do it in a way where it's not like, I'm trying not to do it like giggly and like I can't.
You don't want to be giggly, and you also don't want to make like, oh, we can't talk about that because then they want to know more, and then they want to ask
somebody else. So I'm like, I'd rather I'm here
like
for
their
me.
Teacher, oh poor teachers.
Oh my gosh, where do babies come from? And so, but we haven't gotten to how did it get in there. And so with Henry, it's been easy. So it's like, oh, they took part of mommy and part of daddy, and they mixed it together, and they put it in an incubator, and then they put it inside me. But we haven't gotten to how Hattie was made because Hattie was not an IVF baby. We conceived her naturally. But so I've just taken the approach of I don't introduce the topics to them, but if they bring them to me, I try to. We had no idea we were having sex talk today, kid sex talk, but so this has been my approach, and you'll get there.
Don't call it
not kid. That's a terrible. No.
Sex talk about
sex talk with your kids.
With your kids.
Yeah. Or how babies are made with your kids. I don't know. Whatever.
Yes. How babies are made talk.
Talk with your kids.
With your kids.
Yes. Edit all the rest of that out. It's creeping me out. But yeah, so that's where we are. And you know what? I blame this effing COVID virus.
Because we have to talk to them
because
so much?
that they asked we had so much time together. So many questions came up. So much of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I told you Ryder asked, we talked about that because Ryder wanted to know how he was born.
Yeah.
Before. And so I tried to tell him, but
yeah.
Nothing is like more scary than trying to have those.
Now, I don't know what I'm going to do if they said, how did I get in there? Right. They've only asked how we got out.
How do you decide when to have me? Like, why haven't you had more? Like, why do you not always have a baby in your tummy?
I know the answer to why don't you have more.
Well, I know.
And it's because I'm not emotionally capable of having another human to be in charge of. I'm just not.
I know that. I'm just saying like what Henry would say from his perspective.
Right.
But you jumped all over that. You really...
Oh, I tell them. I don't.
You really are sure that you could not do one more.
No. Are you
I mean, I know
crazy?
now.
Well, I don't have the parts, first of all. And second of all, no. Not for 1 second.
I know. Well, we have 2, and I feel like 3 is the new 2 a little bit.
Oof.
Like with my friends, everyone's like going for 3
Which is awesome.
or has 3.
Love that.
And so they look at you with 2, and it's like how people used to look at somebody with 1, and it's like, when are you having another? And they're almost like, when are you having another? I'm like, no. We're in the same boat. You just know when you hit your capacity.
And I will tell you
I'm
this,
at capacity.
Oh,
In life.
Yeah, in life in general. Yeah. But I will tell you this, almost every person I know that has a third, it's like the chillest baby ever.
I know.
And sometimes they get lost in the store and whatever.
They're just like, whatever.
Left in the car. But
Right.
whatever, they find him really quickly. It's, whatever.
They just don't worry nearly as much about that third baby.
No, the third one's just like,
and then
she's
that
just
third
super
baby's
chill.
probably like really cool because
Yeah.
they just like fend for themselves.
Yeah. I have a girlfriend actually who she has kids like a year older than each of my kids. And she had one when her daughter, her youngest, 8, and she just had another baby.
Wow. So they
And
weren't preventing.
They were not. Well, I don't think they were. They definitely weren't trying.
Right.
But I don't know that the proper steps were taken to ensure that a third didn't occur.
Right.
And so, but they were like, blown away. But he's the chillest baby ever. Like I got to meet him for the first time a couple
Well,
weeks
it's one
ago.
of those things you'll never say you regret having a third.
Of
Like you're
course
going to
not.
love your third. And
Oh, of course not.
It always.
And I was like, this kid's probably going to turn out to like cure cancer or something. He's going to do something
like there's a
phenomenal.
reason why.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing freaks me out more than thinking about a third. And
gosh.
just like, not even that, but like just the fact that like if you did, there'd be this other little person there. And if you don't, there's not that same little person. It's weird. It's like the existentialism part of it. That's weird. I'll meet little kids that are like a third or a fourth. And I'm like, I'll never be creating one of you because I chose not to. It's just weird.
That is weird.
I'm getting deep.
Wow.
It's weird though.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that. I'm still focused on the fact that I'm not emotionally capable of handling a third child.
I'm not either.
But I love the fact that you're thinking existentially.
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 I just can't help it. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's
All
weird that we can create life.
This was not sex talk. Was not on the rundown. Sorry, not sex talk. What's it called? How babies are made? No.
How I don't remember how babies are made talk with our kids.
Yeah,
Something
it's
like
not
that.
even how they're made. I'm not there yet.
Right.
So if anybody has any suggestions on what I should say when they ask how you're made,
Maybe like we can. Okay, we need to like order a slideshow or something that's
we need
ready to press
we need
play.
to have an expert on here.
Yes, good idea.
Yeah.
We need to have a lot of different experts. I don't know
many
where do you go to find an expert? We need to go to the bank of experts. We need all kinds of experts on here.
We need a kid
because
talk.
we need help.
Kid baby
Baby expert talk.
expert. Yeah.
You said Henry though had a funny story about Halloween. He did something.
So this will not surprise you at all. So what's the first thing kids want to do? So we have like 6 kids over at our house. Mm-hmm. They want to sort it, see what they got, do some trading, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I look over, and of course Henry's is divided into each
Color coded.
It's Kit Kats, it's Twix,
Aww.
it's M&Ms, and then he puts it in baggies. And so he's got each kind of candy, and I was like, "You are my child." And he was like, "I mean, come on, Mom. I thought you would be proud of me." Like he totally recognizes
He is that way because of you.
He is. And bless his
Your
heart.
OCD is totally rubbed off on him.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a blessing in some ways.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a curse in some ways, just like it is with
He's going to be a great husband.
I hope that he finds a woman that appreciates this.
He's going to keep that house so clean and
hope so.
organized.
Yeah.
What about Hattie? Is it not rubbing off on her?
Kidding. She's a giant
The
disaster.
opposite of OCD.
Throwing S everywhere, eating so much candy and then complaining about her stomach hurting. Like it's just, yeah.
It's crazy. It
Yeah.
seems like kids are usually, if you have a boy and a girl or not, they're usually completely opposite from one another.
Totally opposite.
That's what I've learned. And
Yeah.
mine are proving to be the same way.
Yeah. But they're at a fun age. They're fun.
They're
fun.
at a
They love Halloween, and now
Okay,
they can
so-
go do by themselves.
So
and
you enjoyed Halloween?
I did enjoy Halloween. Thank you for pointing that out. I
Yeah.
did. You know why? Because there was one thing.
One thing.
That
Yeah.
was great. There was no fall festival. There was no. I will say, we did have the storybook parade at school.
Is that what they do? Because they can't say Halloween.
Yes. So it's storybook parade.
Our public school does that as well.
Yeah. Which was great. and
Characters.
It was fine. Okay, so I think we're avoiding the elephant in the room.
Oh, the elephant. Are you showing your colors?
Oh, here. Okay.
I always knew.
The elephant and the donkey in the room. It's election day.
It is.
So did you vote early?
Yes, I voted last I think it was Thursday.
Okay.
It's so bad, especially working in media, like how I wasn't following like when it ended. And
Yeah.
I thought I could almost early vote up until the actual day of the election. So when I heard it was about to end, I was like, oh, well, shoot, I need to go do it now because I don't want to be dealing with it on election day today. And it was good. Where I went, it was local, just a little library in my neighborhood. And it took like 10 minutes, maybe like 5 people ahead of me. And honestly, if I'm being completely honest, 4 years ago in the election, I didn't vote. I just didn't like figure it out schedule wise. And I wasn't feeling really compelled to either candidate. And so I didn't vote. So this was my first time voting in 8 years, like in a long time.
Oh, really?
And so I was kind of watching the whole process like, oh, this is cool. This is neat. And I just was very impressed by like how organized everything was, how easy it was. Those sweet volunteers, people that are taking their time.
And I went out of my way, and they were the volunteers I had were like super like fun and like, I don't know, like super upbeat and not beaten down like that. I was like,
imagine? Like,
no, but I was like, I told
out of the goodness of your heart.
Each one of them that I came in contact with, I was like, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing.
I was trying to.
Because that is a thankless job unless you thank them. And so it's important to thank them.
Right.
Yeah.
I felt like they were doing a really good job of checking off all the boxes, if you will, and just making sure that all the protocol was we had hand sanitizer we had to use, and then I got a stylist. Did you get a stylist?
I did not get a stylist.
Oh, it was really exciting.
Yeah.
Because we had to vote on the monitor with our stylist, and then I kept it. But it was really cute, and then I got my sticker. But no, it was a really good experience, really easy. I felt like some sort of sense of accomplishment that whole day. You know, just like I did something that matters.
It does. And
today. And I was mad at myself that I didn't do it 4 years ago, but I'm coming clean on the mom game.
Yeah. And I love the fact that so many people are voting. I think it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think the more people that vote, the more representative that, our countries and our states' leaders are based on, our population. And I feel like that, more people voting is a good thing. I hate politics. Like it makes me want to vomit.
God, I know.
It's awful. I'll give my little quick spiel about why I just feel like when people align themselves, like, okay, so these are smart people. And it's so divisive. And then smart people I know, it's like, you're going to tie everything to a donkey or an elephant. Like that, like you're going to ride or die with all that based on all those ideals, like not stray from any of them, but you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. Right. Like to me, I'm like, that's insanity.
Because there's so many different topics and different stances on those topics.
How can it encompass everything you feel?
Right.
But this is another thing. My mom and I've had this, and we learned last week that my mom is very liberal, and that's fine. And I love her, and she's, and for me, I consider myself this a million times. I consider myself socially liberal. I consider myself economically conservative. There's not a whole lot of place for me as far as the party,
the way it works out. Hey, vote for this dude or this dude. That's all we got.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of annoying. Yeah.
And so, but my mom, I was like that. You see social justice. That's your passion. That's how you're voting based on that. I said, but you have to realize that somebody else's passion is a business owner, and they're relying on economic policy to keep their employees employed. And so you have to understand why someone would vote Republican. I'm not. I think the president makes us look really kind of
he's kind of embarrassing.
Like, oh my gosh, so embarrassing. Like what? What are you talking about?
Just rein it in.
What are you doing? Like, just get off Twitter. Like, dude, just get off Twitter. Like, whatever. So, but at the same time, I understand why people would vote for the Republican economic policies. Yes, I understand why people would vote for the social policies on the Democratic side. I totally understand those things. But what you have to understand is we are all shaped. Our decisions, our thoughts, our views are shaped by our life experiences. Yeah. And all of us have different life experiences. But the problem is that we surround ourselves with people who have similar life experiences, and we never see the things on the other side.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I would encourage, what I've tried to do in my life is I've tried to expose myself and seek out people whose life experiences are different than mine, so I can understand why they feel the way they do, why they think the way they do. Right. That's important to me. Yeah. I feel like we're so busy trying to be right and yell at each other about why you're wrong or you're wrong and I'm right that you're not even trying to learn. You're just like, I know what's best and F everybody else.
And then that you sucks. Just have your blinders on.
Yeah. And it's like at an all-time high right now. It's just so gross. It makes me sad.
So polarizing one way or the other. I feel like work is I don't know, maybe that's one of the things I've loved about like wanting to work, because if you're not working or going in and surrounding yourself with people that you're there only because you're working towards, like you're working because you're there and you have a job and you have to be there. What are you're surrounding yourself with your friends, and you're surrounding yourself with your family, and work in a job in a workplace kind of forces you to be around everybody that's there because they're working and not necessarily because you chose to hang out with this person.
Right.
And I've loved that.
So it's like, if you don't know anyone who voted different from you, you might want to.
Right. And some people do morph their work into those types of people,
but you might want to branch out a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, if you literally don't know one person who voted differently from you, wow, you should, there's, I don't know. I just feel like you could learn a lot. You could learn a lot. And I'm not saying you're going to change your vote, or but at least it would give you some perspective on where someone else is coming from, and why, why these people are saying this, and why these people over here are saying this, because you think these people over here are crazy and they think you're crazy. And it's just like, if we actually just like opened ourselves up to a little bit of conversation, it may not change your mind or your vote. I'm not even I don't think that's what he was asking for, but like just a little bit of empathy and understanding on both sides. Yeah. It's just, but everybody's just too busy.
How are you handling it with your kids right now? Because your kids are older than mine. Yeah. I feel like Henry's probably interested. Like he's smart and in the middle of everything. Mine are young enough where they are teaching them at school that there is an election. Yeah. I saw a cute little pamphlet. It was like, this is how the election works. These are the two candidates. And it was like from Scholastic. So it was like not just from my school. But our school also sent a note just about have your feelings, feel however you feel, say whatever you want to say, but try to keep it away from your... Don't force these things on your kids. And we're not going to force things on your kids either when they're at school. And I really appreciated that.
And you know what else has been hard is Henry's super into sports. And now the political ads during sporting events.
Sunday Night Football was ridiculous.
It's out of control. We can't and we'll watch
it.
And
they're mean.
Well, and
for kids to see.
And they're so dumb. Yeah. They're so dumb.
They're so dumb. But for like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old to be watching that, it's like, is this how am I supposed to talk about people?
And so I'll kind of keep an eye on him. And I notice he'll like be watching. But he doesn't usually say much. You know what I mean? So I just,
he's taking it in. Yeah.
He's not asking me questions. I'm not going to say anything. If he's got questions about it, I'll tell him. But I already had a perfect way I was going to talk about it. If you were like, what are debates or whatever? I was going to say it's basically like you and your sister arguing over who has to take a shower first or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like they're childish. This whole thing is childish.
Yeah,
everything.
And this year way worse than others.
It's awful.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all goes down. Do you consume the media as it comes down tonight? Will you be watching?
I don't know. I probably flip it on for a little bit, but no. I mean, I can't even, it really does. I may hate politics on TV more than I hate the sound of my own voice.
So you won't watch yourself on TV and you won't watch politics.
I have yet to listen to one of our podcasts.
I agree. I would never seek it out, but I feel like watching the results come in for the president of the United States
it's a big deal.
More than just like watching politics. It's like, this is a big deal in our lives. I have so many memories growing up just watching on election night, not caring or knowing, but it's kind of cool.
So when in 2000, was it 2000 when Bush, when the hanging Chad, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I was a news reporter and I was in Austin covering the Capitol where Bush lived. Yeah. In 2000. And I remember it was cold and rainy. It was awful. And I ended up staying there for 3 extra days because we thought the election results were going to come back, and then they never did. Yeah. But I covered that election in Austin, covering George W. Bush, and I did some really crazy things, thinking I was going to get an interview with him. I tried to talk to Sweet Talk's Secret Service, what the fuck? They're going to let me.
You never know.
Some random ass reporter from Lubbock. Oh, sure. Let me bring him on out. You know?
I know.
Yeah. But I
bet nobody got any. They probably just put him up on a podium or whatever.
No, he didn't. Nothing happened. What was I thinking? Yeah. But whatever.
I remember that because his daughters went to my school. Did I tell you that?
Yes.
They went to my high school.
My husband went on a date with one of them.
Jenna or Barbara?
Jenna.
Really?
Yeah. It was he was there was a double date. He was the throw-in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, they both went to Austin High.
Yeah.
And I was in one of the clubs with Barbara, and she was lovely.
Yeah, she seems super sweet.
Yeah. So it was interesting being in school with them, and then their dad was the governor and all of that. Whenever something bad happened, it was they'd get like helicoptered out, or not even bad, but like a smoke alarm,
Right.
anything.
Right.
It was like, the Secret Service is
We're
here.
out. We're
Yeah,
out.
they were out.
Good luck, you guys.
But yeah, no, it'll definitely be interesting tonight. And all I'm hoping for is just like a peaceful.
I know. I just want to, can we all just.
Like they've already boarded up down by where I work. I'm like, am I going to show up tomorrow? And
no, and I just think everybody's going to be it's just, I don't know.
It's stressful.
Maybe I hope, I hope that we can.
Either way.
Can we all just accept whatever is the ultimate decision? And I don't think it's going to come down tonight. And this may be totally obsolete by the time this airs, but I just hope that we can let's just accept whatever result it is, trust in the process, and then move
I'm with you.
on.
I'm with you. The mom game stands together on that.
We do.
We stand for peace. We stand
and wine for president.
Wine for president. We can agree on that. That is not the elephant in the room.
That is not the elephant in the room. Okay, and if you can guess who I voted for, I'll entertain your guesses. Not yours, but just people in general.
Look at you.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Yeah.
If you can, okay.
Hit us up.
If you can guess who Emily voted for, and if you have somebody to date her mom.
Set my mom up. I need to post a picture of her. Okay, I'm going to post a picture.
Yeah.
She just got on Twitter because she might be in Facebook jail. She's not able.
We need a quick follow up.
She's not able to log into her account. I haven't quite figured out if it is a technology issue or if she's in Twitter jail. I mean, in Facebook jail because
she was going crazy.
Because she made some
cussing and stuff.
Slightly negative comments toward the president of the United States.
It seems like they would tell you, like, you were in Facebook jail.
I don't know. Yeah.
They just block you out.
Yeah. Who knows? But I'm going to post a picture of her so we can get her some.
Yeah, and then we can follow it along. We can tell the love story.
And then they'll have them in the studio.
Here on the mom game. We can hear about their first
That's what we
date.
need to do. We need to have our moms in for
I know.
the love.
Let's do it. I think it'd be a hoot.
It would be a total hoot.
We could do it Mother's Day, but I don't want to wait that long.
No way.
We'll
We can't
figure
wait
that
that
out.
Okay.
And we'll have a guest with us next week. It's a wild card. I think it might be somebody fun and crazy.
Super wild.
That
That has nothing to
that I
do
have
with
in mind.
momming, but has lots to do with sportsing and entertainment.
Exactly. All right, Em.
Okay, we made it.
We made it. We
Cheers.
did it. Cheers again.
Cheers to.
Cheers again.
You're breaking
I like cheersing.
Okay, cheers. Episode 34 in the books.
Next week it's my golden episode, so
It is.
tune in to find out what
Who knows
happened.
what we'll do. Mom came out.
Something crazy. Mom game out.